Stacy Iest and I'm here at the Fat Quarter Shop, and today I'm going to teach you how to make bunting. It's a great decorative item for parties or bedrooms or nurseries.
It's so cute, I'm going to decorate my office with it. So let's get started.
So the first thing we're going to do when we make our bunting is to make our bias tape. We start with a fat quarter piece of fabric of your choice, and you fold it into a triangle like so. What we want to do is we want to create a square. So I've got this, and we want to get it on the bias. So I have this here, and I'm going to cut, and you can use your scissors, but I like to use my ruler. There we go. So now we have a perfect square on bias. Then what we want to do is cut on the bottom folded side of the triangle. So we'll take this. So this I'm just going to manually do with the scissors, and it doesn't have to be super perfect. Just have to cut it on that bottom line. Okay, so once we have that, we're going to fold it like so, and then we're going to flip it like this, and we flip it so my folded piece is at the bottom here. Okay, then we'll take our measuring tool, and we want to measure 1 3/4 inch. Let me just straighten this out. There's lots of lines here. And then you take your rotary blade and you take a piece like that. So you have one, and we can cut several more out of this. So we'll do 4. So we'll have some spare fabric. You can use that for another project. And then you put them out like so. And when you feel the fabric, you can feel it stretches. So you know you've cut it right, because that's what you want for your projects, so that it'll have a little bit of a give. And lay it out like this. We're going to sew these pieces together. And sometimes it can get a little tricky. So what you first want to do is lay it out like so. And I alternate with sizes so that you're not sewing like a bunch of little pieces together, so you've got a lot of seams in your bias tape in one section. So I alternate between all the different sizes. So I take the next piece, and then putting right sides together, we make this angle here. And as you can see, there's about a 1/4 inch triangle on each side. And what you want to do is sew a 1/4 inch seam right there. And then you take it and bring it this way. And then you bring your next piece, and this is where it gets a little tricky, and you bring it up like that. And there we go, we have that angle again, and you have your little triangles, and you sew a 1/4 inch seam, and you continue on with the rest of the pieces until you have a long piece of fabric. So now that we've cut all our bias tape and sewn it all together, we're going to put it in this fun little tool. And this is about a 1 inch bias tape maker. And what you do is, let's see, I'm going to take it this way. You want to put your wrong side through here. And sometimes you can put it through no problem. Other times you might need a little needle to go through this space to pull it through. But needs a little bit of help here. I got it. Okay, and see how we have this little point coming through here? So you just pull it through, and you take your iron, and I like to use steam, and you just push it along like so. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be the perfect line at first, and that'll be cut off, so don't worry about that. Just work it through evenly, like so. And you get this lovely little bias tape. And it's so wonderful. I used to use store-bought bias tape, but I love making my own because it matches my projects perfectly. And so we're just going along. Look at that, how cute. Pulling it through. Just make sure on your other side, and when you hit seams, you want to be careful that it goes in smoothly. So once we've finished it through, we'll have this, and then you'll have a flat piece like so. And to make the bias tape, to fold it, you just bring it over, and you want to slightly have one side a little bit shorter than the other, so that when you sew, you want to sew on the short side so that you grab onto the back side. And it'll make your projects a lot easier if you do that. So you just fold it over like so, and iron it. And I have to say, this is such a fun thing to do, and it just feels like you're a professional when you have it all done, and it's so complete, and the fabric matches your project. I just love it. And it's got that stretch, so it's wonderful. So if you're working on projects with a curve, it just lays down so nicely. So if you're using the bias tape for a bag or anything, then you want to go ahead and just stitch it probably 1/8 inch on the shorter side so that you grab the back. But if you want to use it for bunting, you will go ahead and put your little pennant in there and then fold it over and sew on the top. So now we're going to make our bunting. I have 2 templates that are free on the Fat Quarter website. You can use them for whatever project. One is a little bit more pointed and one is a little bit more curved. Today we're going to work with our more pointed version for this. So what we want to do is take our fabric, and we've got these cute little horseshoes. One note, and something I learned when designing this, when you are working with horseshoes, they always need to be, the curve needs to be at the bottom because it's good luck. So just note to self whenever you're sewing with horseshoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this, because who has time to cut out 2 pieces when you can do it all at once? I'm going to take my template, and so for my template I printed out the paper and I stapled it onto a piece of cardboard. So this gives me a little bit more sturdiness when I trace it out, as opposed to pinning it or just using the paper. So now I'm going to take my little pencil and I'm going to trace around like so. Doesn't have to be perfect because we are drawing on the wrong side and no one will see it. So we're going to take it off. Let's see how we did. It's very light, but I think we can do it. So with the 2 pieces, you might want to put a pin there just to hold it in place, but we'll go ahead and cut it out like so. Okay, now we have our pennant cut with the right sides facing together like so, and we can just keep it like that. And what we'll do is we'll pin this around the outside sides and the bottom, leaving the top open. We're not going to sew this. And we'll sew 1/4 inch around the whole pennant. And then once we've done that, we'll clip our corners to give it a little bit of ease so there's not so much bulk there. And then once we're done with that, we flip it inside out and we press it really nice. And I have a made one right here. As you can see, we flipped it inside out. If you want, you can pink the edges so it doesn't unravel, but it's not necessary. So now that we have that, and we have our super cute little binding, we will take our pennant, open up our binding, put our pennant in there, and when I'm placing these in here, I usually use my guides here. This is a wonderful, wonderful tool, and I put them about an inch apart. So I'll put each pennant an inch apart. I'll leave about a good 7 or 8 inches as a tag on the outside. And then, because I put my shorter side on the top, and I don't know if you can see, but the back side is a little bit longer, I sew about 1/8 of an inch, or as close to the edge as possible, along the top to the very end. And there you have it, a finished bunting.